Captain James Walker stood on the observation deck of Earth Defense Station Alpha, his hands clasped tightly behind his back. Through the reinforced glass, he watched as 5 massive ships broke through Earth's cloud cover. Each vessel was at least 3 miles long, their hulls gleaming with a metal unknown to human science. They moved with impossible grace for objects so large. "Sir, we're getting communication requests from the lead ship," said Lieutenant Davis, her voice steady despite the tension. Walker nodded. "Put them through to the main screen." The display flickered to life, revealing a tall, blue-skinned being. Its 4 eyes blinked in sequence, and a thin mouth curved into what might have been a smile. "I am Admiral Vex of the Galactic Imperial Fleet," the alien said in perfect English. "Your world has been noticed by the Empire. Consider this an honor." Walker kept his expression neutral. Earth had only achieved faster-than-light travel 30 years ago. In that short time, they had established colonies on 3 nearby star systems and made contact with a few minor alien species. But everyone knew about the Empire, the massive government that controlled over 6,000 worlds across 3 spiral arms of the galaxy. "This is Captain Walker of the Earth Defense Fleet. We welcome peaceful contact with the Empire." Vex made a sound like stones grinding together, possibly laughter. "Peace is available to those who understand their place, Captain. The Emperor has decided that Earth will become a protectorate of the Empire. Your resources are valuable, your position strategic." The terms came quickly after that. Earth would surrender 40% of all resources annually. Imperial overseers would be stationed in every major city. Human ships would require Imperial permission to travel beyond the solar system. Earth's military would be reduced to a token force for handling internal matters only. "These terms are non-negotiable," Vex said. "The United Earth Council has 1 standard week to accept our generous offer." Walker felt his jaw tighten. "And if we decline?" All 4 of Vex's eyes focused on him. "You may research our dealings with the Taurians or the Proxima colonies if you require clarity on that point." The screen went dark. Everyone on the deck knew what Vex meant. The Empire had reduced the Taurian homeworld to molten slag after they refused similar terms. The Proxima colonies had been more thoroughly destroyed, their very star destabilized in a display of Imperial power. 3 hours later, Walker sat in the emergency session of the United Earth Council. Representatives from every nation and colony filled the circular chamber in New Geneva. "We cannot possibly agree to these demands," said Councillor Jackson, pounding his fist on the table. "It would mean the end of human independence forever." "And refusing means the end of human existence," countered Councillor Lai. "The Imperial fleet could destroy our entire defense network in minutes." The debate raged for hours. Walker noticed Director Anna Reed of Earth Intelligence sitting quietly in the corner, her tablet computer balanced on her knee. When she finally stood to speak, the room fell silent. "The Empire believes we are like every other young species they've encountered," she said. "Technologically inferior, disorganized, and easy to intimidate. But they've made a critical mistake." She activated the central holographic display, showing intercepted Imperial communications dating back nearly 50 years. "We've been monitoring them since before we officially knew they existed. We've studied their technology, their tactics, their weaknesses." The room grew quieter still as Reed continued. "Humans have something the Empire doesn't understand: adaptability. While they've remained technologically stagnant for centuries, relying on their size to maintain dominance, we've been preparing." Reed's eyes swept the room. "I'm not suggesting we can defeat the Empire in open warfare, but we can show them that subjugating Earth would cost more than they're willing to pay." Walker watched as the council members leaned forward, their faces lighting up with cautious hope as Reed began to outline her plan. Perhaps humanity wasn't as helpless as Admiral Vex believed. Perhaps the Empire had finally encountered a species that wouldn't bow down so easily. The die was cast. Earth would not surrender. Director Anna Reed walked quickly down the secure corridor beneath the New Geneva complex. Her security badge opened 5 different checkpoints before she reached the room known simply as the Vault. Inside, 3 people waited around a circular table. "I assume the council meeting went as expected?" Dr. Thomas Reed asked. Though he shared a last name with Anna, he was not a relative. Thomas was Earth's leading physicist, his mind constantly racing with calculations few others could follow. "Exactly as expected," Anna replied. Fear followed by anger followed by desperation. They're looking for any solution that doesn't involve total surrender or annihilation. Commander Alex Stone sat with perfect posture, his military training evident in every movement. The Imperial ships have maintained position. Their weapon systems are powered down but ready for immediate use. They're confident. "As they should be," said Robert Gray, Earth's most experienced diplomat. His weathered face showed the strain of the last few hours. Their fleet could glass the planet without breaking a sweat. Anna placed her tablet on the table. It projected a holographic display of Imperial ship schematics and communication protocols. "What the Empire doesn't know is that we've been intercepting and decoding their transmissions for 50 years. Ever since their scout ships first entered our solar system and thought we didn't notice them." Thomas adjusted his glasses. "Their technology is impressive but surprisingly unchanging. Their entire communication network relies on a quantum entanglement system centered on their capital world. Their greatest strength is also their greatest weakness," Anna continued. "The Empire spans thousands of worlds, all controlled through a rigid hierarchy. Every order flows from the top down. Every decision requires approval from higher authorities." Alex leaned forward. "And humans don't work that way." "Exactly," Anna said with a thin smile. "We're adaptable, unpredictable. We can make decisions instantly when needed." She swiped her hand across the display, showing a star map of known Imperial territory. Hundreds of tiny blue dots appeared throughout the Empire's borders. "What am I looking at?" Robert asked. "The Sleeper program," Alex answered. "For 20 years, we've been quietly placing human agents throughout Imperial space. Merchants, workers, even a few who've gained positions in Imperial administrative offices." Thomas stood up and walked to the display. "I've been studying Imperial biology for years. Their brains are actually quite similar to ours in structure, but there's a key difference. Humans have unique neurological patterns that allow us to interface with technology in ways they can't comprehend." He pulled up a different display showing brain scan comparisons. The Empire has relied on the same technological systems for centuries. They've forgotten how to innovate. They can't even imagine the ways we can manipulate their systems. "Which brings us to our plan," Anna said. "We're not going to fight them. We're going to show them exactly what would happen if they forced us to fight." For the next hour, the team reviewed the details. Thomas had developed a quantum algorithm that could temporarily disrupt the Empire's communication systems. Alex's sleeper agents were positioned to demonstrate Earth's reach. Robert would draft the diplomatic response that would accompany their demonstration. "The Council will need to approve this," Robert cautioned. "It's an enormous risk." "The alternative is surrender or destruction," Anna replied. "This gives us a third option." 3 days later, the United Earth Council convened an emergency session again. Anna presented the plan with her team beside her. The chamber erupted into chaos. "This is madness," shouted Councillor Lai. "You're suggesting we threaten the Empire." "Not threaten," Anna corrected. "Demonstrate. Show them that conquering Earth would be too costly, too difficult, and ultimately unnecessary." Councillor Jackson stood. "If we fail, they'll destroy us without hesitation. If we surrender, we die slowly instead of quickly," Alex countered. "At least this way, we die on our feet." The debate raged for hours. Captain Walker, who had been silently observing, finally spoke. "I've studied every encounter the Empire has had with new species. In every case, they expected immediate compliance or resistance they could easily crush. They've never faced a species that was prepared for them before they even arrived." Commander Alex Stone sat in a secure communication room, his fingers flying across a specialized keyboard. The screen before him displayed a complex series of codes that appeared to be random numbers and symbols to anyone who might be watching. But each sequence activated a different sleeper agent throughout Imperial space. "How many have confirmed?" Anna Reed asked, standing behind him. 342 so far." Alex replied without looking up. "That's almost 90%. The rest will check in within the next 6 hours." Thomas Reed entered the room, carrying a small device that pulsed with blue light. "The quantum disruptor is ready. Once activated, it will temporarily freeze all Imperial communications for exactly 8 minutes. 8 minutes during which thousands of Imperial ships will be unable to receive orders," Anna said with a nod. "And Imperial commanders cannot act without explicit orders." Robert Gray looked up from his tablet. "The diplomatic message is prepared, simple, direct, and unmistakable in its meaning." Anna gathered them around a central table where a holographic display showed Earth and the 5 Imperial ships still hovering in orbit. "Tomorrow is our deadline. Admiral Vex will expect our surrender. Instead, he'll witness our demonstration." Alex pulled up a new display showing locations throughout Imperial space. "Our agents are in position on 17 key military bases, 35 administrative centers, and over 200 civilian installations. At the signal, they'll simultaneously trigger localized disruptions that will cause no permanent damage but will demonstrate our reach." "What about the Imperial capital?" Walker asked as he joined them. Thomas smiled slightly. "We have something special planned for Centrum Prime. The Emperor himself will receive a personal message." The team worked through the night, checking and rechecking every detail. There would be no second chance. Earth's survival depended on everything working perfectly. At dawn, the council members gathered in the main chamber. Many looked as if they hadn't slept. The tension was thick enough to cut with a knife. "The Imperial flagship is hailing us," the communications officer announced. "Admiral Vex demands our answer." The council president looked to Anna and her team, who nodded. "Put him through." Admiral Vex appeared on the main screen, his 4 eyes blinking impatiently. "Your time has expired. What is Earth's decision?" The council president stood tall. "Earth has considered your terms, Admiral Vex. We have prepared our response." He nodded to Robert, who stepped forward. "The people of Earth reject your terms. We offer our own. Leave our solar system and never return." Vex's skin darkened with anger. "You dare to counteroffer? Your arrogance is astounding for such a primitive species. I will enjoy watching your world burn." "Before you give that order, Admiral," Anna said calmly, "you should know that Earth is not as defenseless as you believe." Vex made that strange grinding laugh again. "Your pitiful ships and weapons are no match for even one of my vessels." "We agree," Thomas said, holding up the blue pulsing device. "Which is why we chose a different approach." He pressed a button. The device flashed once, then went dark. For a moment, nothing seemed to happen. Vex opened his mouth to speak, but the communication suddenly cut off. The main screen split into hundreds of smaller screens, each showing a different location throughout Imperial space. On every screen, Imperial ships drifted aimlessly. Communication centers flashed with warning lights. Defensive systems powered down unexpectedly, and on each screen, a small Earth flag symbol appeared briefly before disappearing. Alex tapped his earpiece. "All sleeper agents confirm successful operations. No casualties. Maximum confusion achieved." Anna nodded to the communications officer. "Broadcast our message. All frequencies, all Imperial channels." The council president stepped forward as the camera focused on him. His voice was steady and clear. "People of the Galactic Empire, this demonstration was a courtesy. We could have destroyed your ships. We could have crashed your planetary systems. We chose mercy. Earth will not be conquered. Earth will not surrender. Earth will not negotiate under threat. But Earth is willing to establish peaceful relations with those who respect our sovereignty." The choice is yours. Peace or consequences. You have 24 hours to withdraw your forces from our system. The Imperial ships hung motionless in Earth's orbit. 23 hours had passed since Earth's demonstration and ultimatum. Inside the New Geneva complex, the council chamber was filled with tense silence. Screens displayed the Imperial vessels, their weapon systems still powered down but ready. They haven't responded to any communication attempts, Robert Gray said, his voice breaking the silence. No threats, no diplomatic messages. Nothing. Anna Reed studied the tactical display. Their ships have been exchanging short-range communications, but nothing directed at us. Could they be waiting for orders from the capital? Captain Walker asked. Thomas Reed shook his head. Their communications were only disrupted for 8 minutes. They've had nearly a full day to receive new instructions from Centrum Prime. Maybe they're hoping to catch us off guard. Alex Stone suggested. They might think our demonstration was a one-time trick. The main door slid open, and a young officer rushed in. Director Reed, we're picking up energy readings from the Imperial fleet. Their engines are powering up. The screens confirmed it. The 5 massive ships were coming to life, their engines glowing with blue energy. Are they charging weapons? The council president asked, his knuckles white as he gripped the edge of the table. Negative, Anna replied, studying the readouts. Just engines and navigation systems. Everyone watched in silence as the Imperial vessels slowly began to move. For a terrible moment, it seemed they might be repositioning for an attack. Then the trajectory became clear. They were pulling away from Earth. Their leaving orbit. Alex confirmed, his voice betraying his surprise. The council chamber erupted in cheers and sighs of relief, but Anna held up her hand. Wait, the lead ship is transmitting something. The main screen flickered, and Admiral Vex appeared. His 4 eyes no longer blinked in sequence, but stared straight ahead. His skin had a paler blue tone than before. People of Earth, he said, his voice stiff. The Empire acknowledges your demonstration of capability. Our forces will withdraw from your system as requested. The council president stepped forward. We appreciate your cooperation, Admiral. Vex's mouth formed a tight line. Do not misunderstand. This withdrawal is temporary. The Emperor has ordered a full assessment of your species and capabilities. The Empire has existed for 10,000 years. We do not rush to judgment or action. With that, the transmission ended. The screen showed the Imperial ships accelerating away from Earth, heading toward the outer solar system. They'll be back, won't they? Robert asked quietly. Of course they will, Anna replied. But not today, and not unprepared. The council president turned to Anna and her team. You've bought us time. How do we use it? Thomas smiled. We have their technology now. During the 8-minute blackout, our systems copied massive amounts of Imperial technical data. Their shields, weapons, propulsion systems, we have it all. And my sleeper agents remain in place, Alex added. We can monitor the Empire's response in real time. Anna stepped to the center of the room. The Empire will come back. But next time, we'll be even more prepared. Hours later, Anna stood with Captain Walker on the observation deck of Earth Defense Station Alpha, watching as the last Imperial ship disappeared from visual range. What do you think happened on their capital world? Walker asked, when they received our message. Anna smiled slightly. Absolute chaos, I imagine. The Empire is built on the idea that they are unassailable. We just proved them wrong. Will they try to find our sleeper agents? They'll try, but they won't succeed. My people are too well integrated. Some have been living on Imperial worlds for decades. She turned to face him. The important thing is that we've changed the equation. The Empire now has to consider the cost of conquering Earth. Walker nodded slowly. So what happens next? Now we prepare. The Emperor will send researchers, spies, perhaps even diplomats. They'll try to understand how we did what we did. They'll look for our weaknesses. And will they find any? Anna's expression grew serious. Of course. We're not invincible, Captain. We just proved we're not helpless. The space where the Imperial ships had been was now empty, just stars twinkling against the blackness of space. Earth had won its first encounter with the Galactic Empire, but both Anna and Walker knew this was just the beginning. We should expect their return within 6 months, Anna said quietly. Maybe sooner. And we'll be ready, Walker replied with conviction. Anna watched the stars, her mind already racing with plans and contingencies. Yes, Captain. We'll be ready. Emperor Dorn's private chamber on Centrum Prime shook with his rage. The massive ruler of the Galactic Empire towered over his advisors, his 6-fingered hands clenched into fists. His normally golden skin had darkened to a deep bronze with anger. Explain to me, he said, his voice dangerously quiet, how a primitive species from a backwater planet managed to infiltrate our most secure systems. High Commander Trell stepped forward, visibly nervous. Your Imperial Majesty, we are still investigating. The humans appear to have agents throughout our territory. Our initial estimates suggest hundreds, possibly thousands. Impossible. The Emperor slammed his fist on the ornate table, cracking its stone surface. We would have detected them. Our security protocols were designed to catch known threats, interrupted Science Director Mira. Unlike the others, she seemed more fascinated than frightened. Humans are different. Their neural patterns allow them to interface with our technology in unexpected ways. The Emperor turned his glare upon Admiral Vex, who stood at attention with his head bowed. And you were supposed to bring this world to heel. Instead, you retreated. By your command, Majesty, Vex said carefully. After their demonstration, you ordered. I ordered a tactical withdrawal to assess the situation. The Emperor snapped. Not a humiliating retreat. Intelligence Master Krev, who had remained silent until now, stepped forward. Your Majesty, if I may. We recovered this footage from your private chamber security system. The holographic display showed the Emperor's own quarters during the 8-minute communications blackout. A message had appeared on every screen and display. The Emperor is not beyond deep our reach. Earth OFA yours peace or Sionis EQUENCs. The chamber fell silent. For humans to penetrate the Emperor's personal security was unprecedented. They could have killed me, Emperor Dorn said quietly. But they didn't, Science Director Mira pointed out. That's significant. They demonstrated capability without causing harm. The Emperor sank into his throne, his rage giving way to troubled thought. Begin a full investigation. I want to know everything about these humans, how many agents they have, how they infiltrated our systems, every detail. Already underway, Majesty, Krev replied. But it may take time. Their agents are remarkably well hidden. They appear identical to the species they're impersonating. That's impossible, High Commander Trell objected. Our bioscanners were compromised, Krev said flatly. The humans somehow altered the scanner programming to recognize them as native species. Science Director Mira's eyes widened. That would require an intimate understanding of our technology, not just how to use it, but how to fundamentally change it. No new species has demonstrated such capability in over 3,000 years. The Emperor gestured, and all advisors fell silent. Trell, double the military presence in all sectors bordering the humans' territory. Mira, I want a complete analysis of their capabilities based on what we've observed. Krev, find me these human agents. He turned to Admiral Vex last. And you will return to Earth. Not with warships, but with a diplomatic vessel. You will meet with their leaders. Vex's 4 eyes blinked in surprise. Diplomacy, Your Majesty, with a lesser species. The Emperor's gaze hardened. They have proven they are not lesser. At least not in the ways that matter. You will deliver my message. The Empire acknowledges Earth's demonstration. We wish to understand their intentions. As the advisors filed out to execute their orders, Emperor Dorn remained alone in his chamber. For 10,000 years, the empire had expanded unchallenged, absorbing or crushing all who stood in its path. Now, for the first time in living memory, the empire had been forced to reconsider. The emperor activated his private communication system. Bring me the archivists. Hours later, deep beneath the imperial palace, Emperor Dorn stood surrounded by ancient records and scrolls. The chief archivist, a small being with translucent skin, guided him through stacks of forgotten knowledge. "Here, Your Majesty," the archivist said, placing a crystal data cube on the reader. "The last time the Empire encountered a species that could manipulate our technology. The Valar from the Third Expansion Era." "What happened to them?" the Emperor asked. The archivist hesitated. "We destroyed their homeworld, Majesty, but not before they caused significant damage to Imperial infrastructure. The war lasted 70 years and nearly bankrupted the Empire. 3 months after the Imperial fleet's withdrawal, a single sleek vessel entered Earth's solar system. Unlike the massive warships that had come before, this ship was smaller, with elegant lines and minimal weapon systems visible on its exterior. The United Earth Council gathered once more in the New Geneva complex, watching the approach with cautious optimism. "They're broadcasting diplomatic codes," Captain Walker reported. "Just one ship, minimal crew. Sensors confirm Admiral Vex is aboard." Anna Reed exchanged glances with her team. Interesting that they'd send the same admiral who tried to force our surrender. Either a show of continuity or a chance for him to redeem himself, Robert Gray suggested. In Imperial culture, failure often means death. Perhaps this is his opportunity to save himself. The council president nodded. "Bring them in. Small security detail only. Let's not appear hostile or frightened." 2 hours later, Admiral Vex and 2 Imperial guards were escorted into the council chamber. Vex looked different than before. His posture less rigid, his 4 eyes scanning the room with what appeared to be genuine curiosity rather than disdain. "Welcome back to Earth, Admiral," the council president said, "though under rather different circumstances than your last visit." Vex inclined his head slightly. "Indeed. I bring a message from Emperor Dorn himself." He placed a small device on the central table. It projected a hologram of the Emperor, a towering figure with golden skin and 6-fingered hands. The hologram spoke. "People of Earth, I acknowledge your demonstration of capability. The Empire extends an offer of diplomatic relations between our civilizations. We propose a mutual non-aggression pact and limited trade agreements to begin with. Admiral Vex has authority to negotiate preliminary terms." The hologram disappeared. Vex looked around the room, his gaze lingering on Anna Reed and her team. "The Emperor was most impressed by your methods," he said. "In 10,000 years, no species has penetrated Imperial security as you did." Anna stepped forward. "We appreciate the Emperor's offer. But let's be honest with each other, Admiral. This isn't about mutual respect. You're buying time to find our agents and strengthen your systems against our methods." For a moment, Vex's skin darkened with anger, but he quickly regained his composure. "You are direct. Very well. Yes, the Empire is reassessing its position regarding Earth. That does not make our diplomatic offer insincere." Robert Gray joined the conversation. "Let us propose our terms then. Full recognition of Earth's sovereignty and all its colonies. Cessation of all Imperial expansion in the Orion arm of the galaxy. Access to Imperial star charts and trade routes." Vex's eyes widened. "You ask for much." "We demonstrated much," Thomas Reed replied calmly. The negotiations continued for days. Each morning, Vex would receive new instructions from the Empire. Each evening, the Council would debate their response. Behind the scenes, Anna's team monitored Imperial communications and the activities of their sleeper agents. "They're searching for our people," Alex Stone reported on the 3rd night, "conducting random neural scans in major population centers. So far, they've found nothing." "And they won't," Anna said confidently. "Our agents are too well integrated, but it shows they're taking us seriously." On the 5th day, A breakthrough came. Vex entered the chamber with a different demeanor. "The Emperor has authorized me to accept modified terms," he announced. "Full recognition of Earth's current territory. A designated neutral zone in the Orion Arm. Limited access to Imperial charts and knowledge bases." The council members looked to Anna, who nodded slightly. As a gesture of goodwill, the council president said, "Earth will release control of several minor Imperial systems we currently have access to." Vex's 4 eyes blinked rapidly in surprise. "You have control of Imperial systems." Thomas Reed smiled. "Nothing critical. Just a few orbital defense platforms and administrative networks. Consider it proof that our demonstration wasn't a one-time effort." For the first time, genuine respect showed in Vex's expression. "I will convey this to the Emperor. The gesture will be appreciated." 1 year after the first Imperial ships appeared in Earth's sky, Captain James Walker stood on the bridge of the EDS Horizon, the most advanced vessel in Earth's rapidly expanding fleet. The ship glided smoothly through space, its hull incorporating elements of both human and Imperial technology. Through the viewport, Walker could see the sprawling magnificence of Centrum Prime, the capital world of the Galactic Empire. "I never thought I'd see this day," Walker said quietly. "A human ship approaching the Imperial throne world as a diplomatic vessel rather than a conquest target." Director Anna Reed stood beside him, her expression thoughtful as she studied the massive orbital structures surrounding the ancient planet. "The Emperor is making a statement by allowing us to dock at the Royal Shipyard. It's a privilege typically reserved for long-standing allies." The communications officer turned in her seat. "Captain, we're receiving docking instructions. The Emperor's personal guard will meet us." Walker nodded. "Take us in, Lieutenant. Standard diplomatic protocols." As the horizon approached the massive space station, Walker noticed the Imperial ships giving them a wide berth. Not out of fear, exactly, but a new kind of respect. The reputation of Earth had spread throughout the galaxy in the past year. 2 hours later, Walker and Reed stood in the Emperor's grand audience chamber. The room stretched for hundreds of feet, with towering columns and ancient artifacts from 1,000 worlds. Emperor Dorn sat on an elevated throne, his golden skin gleaming in the soft light. Admiral Vex stood to his right, and various Imperial officials filled the chamber. "Captain Walker, Director Reed," the Emperor's deep voice carried easily across the vast space. "Welcome to Centrum Prime. Few non-Imperial citizens have stood where you stand now." Walker bowed slightly, as Robert Gray had instructed him on proper Imperial protocol. "We are honored by your hospitality, Your Majesty." The formal greetings completed, the Emperor gestured, and most of the officials filed out, leaving only his closest advisors. "The Treaty of Seoul has been implemented across all Imperial territories," Emperor Dorn said, his tone more conversational now. "For the first time in 8,000 years, the Empire has recognized the full sovereignty of a newly discovered species without first bringing them into our fold." Anna stepped forward. "The treaty benefits both our civilizations, Your Majesty. Trade between Earth and Imperial worlds has already begun to flourish." Science Director Mira, who stood near the Emperor's throne, nodded enthusiastically. "The exchange of knowledge has been particularly valuable. Human scientific approaches are refreshingly innovative." The Emperor's eyes fixed on Anna. "My analysts are still puzzled by one thing, Director Reed. How did humans manage to place so many agents throughout Imperial space before we even made official contact?" Anna's face revealed nothing. "Preparation and patience, Your Majesty. We detected Imperial scout ships in our system 50 years ago. We've been getting ready ever since." The Emperor leaned forward. "And how many agents do you currently have in my empire?" "I'm afraid I can't disclose that information, Your Majesty," Anna replied calmly. "Just as I'm sure you wouldn't tell me how many Imperial agents operate in Earth territory." For a moment, tension filled the chamber. Then the Emperor did something unexpected. He laughed, a deep rumbling sound. "Well answered, Director. It seems humans understand the game of power better than most. The formal audience soon transitioned to a banquet, where Walker found himself seated with high-ranking Imperial military officers. Their questions were numerous but respectful. How had Earth developed so quickly? What were humans' plans for further expansion? Walker answered carefully, neither revealing too much nor appearing secretive. Across the room, Anna was deep in conversation with the Emperor himself. Their words were private, but their body language suggested a meeting of equals, unprecedented in Imperial history. Later, as Walker and Anna returned to the horizon, they paused in a private corridor. What did the Emperor really want to know? Walker asked. Anna smiled slightly. Whether Earth plans to challenge the Empire's dominance in the long term. Whether we're a temporary anomaly or a permanent change to the galactic order. And what did you tell them?